Have you ever found yourself getting excited about leveraging social media for real estate? You want to get clients from social media, Instagram, Facebook ads, YouTube, things like that, only to fall short and not get any clients from it? Well, that's very common. And what I'm going to do in this video is break down the 6 reasons why I see so many agents failing to get clients on social media. And the best news is it's usually not that you're not doing the right things, but these 6 things are going to give you context as to what you can do differently and how you can improve over time in order to start getting massive amounts of clients from your social media, just like I've done in the past and how I've helped many agents do every single year. What's up, guys? My name is Mike Sherrard. I train thousands of agents every year to scale their business the modern way with social media. And this is an important topic that's very near and dear to my heart because I have a lot of people that reach out to me that watch my videos on all the different tutorials about how to leverage social media. They get excited about it, or they see me speak at an event, and then they start and they stop and they're not getting the results they're expecting, and they quit, they give up, and they're not getting any clients from it. Or they continue to do it and still don't get any clients from it, which is even worse. So what I want to do is really explain to you why people are struggling with it so that I can give you the opposite end, which is what you need to do to not struggle with it. Number 1 is delayed versus instant gratification. The worst question, and somebody that basically I almost know they're going to fail with social media, is if they ever ask, how long until you think I'm going to get a client? Well, if that's your mentality, that's instant gratification, because basically what that's saying is, I'm going to do this until that point, and if I don't get a client, I'm going to give up, I'm going to go to something else, which is usually what they do, which is the worst thing you can do. If you look at anybody that has succeeded in anything, they do the activity consistently and relentlessly over an extended period of time. They have moved the time horizon for their barometer of success to the point where if they don't get a client in 3 months, they don't care, because they know that people have proven this to work many times over if they commit to the process, which we'll get into in the next thing. But having delayed gratification is really important because this is a delayed gratification approach. If you want instant gratification, you're going to have to go do something that's more instantaneous, like door knocking or cold calling, but not many people want to do that. So you have to shift your perspective. You need to go in and say, I'm going to do this for the rest of my career, because this is the modern way of prospecting. And again, I'm not saying that the traditional way doesn't work, is how I built my business in the beginning, but you need to understand that this is important. It's not going away, and it's only going to become more relevant and a necessity. So looking at this from a long-term play is one of the most important things that most people struggle with. Number 2 is commitments to the process. I briefly touched on this a second ago, but when you look at this, you can look at a number of different videos on my YouTube channel that proves a ton of agents that are crushing it on YouTube getting clients, that are crushing it on TikTok, crushing it on Instagram. All of them just did the very simple things consistently. There's a very powerful quote that I live by, which is that if one man or woman can do it, so can another man or woman. So if somebody on my channel, like Suman or any of these other people that have incredible results with their YouTube channels, and they committed to the process for over a year and they can do it, well, what's the difference between them and you? The only difference is consistency in action. But in terms of skill sets, you can go do this too, right? But a lot of people are not committed to the process, and they think that it's a problem with them. And it's not a problem with them in terms of their skill sets. It's a problem with them in terms of their mindset. Number 3 is thinking unbiasedly. And this is going to be a bit of a litmus test that you can do. And I get people to do this on their posts, on their videos, and on their ads. So let's do that post video ad in that sequence. So when we look at posts, one of the things that I do is whenever people are posting on Instagram or whatever, TikTok, and they post something, I get them, if they're not getting any clients in their social media, I get them to look at that post and say, if I didn't know who you were, if you didn't know who you were, would you go so far as to like that post? Would you even go so far as to comment on that post? And would you actually go to your own profile and follow you or subscribe to you? And what you'll see is most people will say no. Most people wouldn't even engage with their own content, but they're expecting other people to engage with it just because it's them. They're thinking biasly, right? So you need to do this litmus test to say, if I didn't know who you were, would you engage with your own content? Same thing goes with videos. I rewatch 100% of my own videos before I put it up on YouTube. And what I do is I look at, where does my attention drift off? Where could I have done better? What could I have done differently? Would I clicked on that thumbnail versus the other thumbnails that are out there for the same video topic? And if the answer is no, I revise it, I redo it, I reshoot it. And I'm constantly looking at improving, because if you wouldn't watch your own video start to finish, how can you get somebody else to watch your own video start to finish? And that's a question that you need to be honest with yourself with, because again, people are going to act in the same way that you would act. And if you remove yourself from the biased perspective, then you're going to get some really eye-opening information. Same with advertising, the third part, which is if you were to run an ad, most people run these stupid ads with their face shot on it or free home evaluation or something like that. Ask yourself, if you were a member of the general public and you were not a realtor, would you click on that ad? And most people wouldn't click on their own ad. So why are you getting all worked up and, disappointed and upset and pissed when nobody else is clicking on it when you wouldn't click on it? It makes no sense. So you need to think unbiasedly and start to do these quality control tests to make sure that you're acting in the way in accordance with what the general public will act in. Number 4, time management. A lot of people think that social media needs to take a ton of time and they get overwhelmed so that they don't do it and they're not consistent. It really doesn't. It comes down to time management. I do like I'm doing right now. It's a Saturday morning. I record all of my videos for the month, one Saturday in the morning every month. My whole month's worth of content is done in one session between 8:30 and 1 p.m. every single time. And for my photos and for my short form content. For my short form content, I do 1 post a day, 30 posts a month, usually on Instagram and TikTok. And I go out once a month. And in 60 minutes, in 1 hour, we do 30 short form videos. I write out all the bullet points, one take, crank it out, done. Might take you 2 hours, might take you 3 hours, who cares? But either which way, get it done in one session. Now I've got all my content for the month. I'm done. I post it, right? It's all about time management, and most people struggle with that. Number 5, investment versus an expense. A lot of people look at getting somebody to design your thumbnail for $10 on Fiverr versus you spending an hour to do it on Canva is an expense. A lot of people think getting somebody to edit your video is an expense. Well, let me look at the thumbnail, for example. Or again, photographer, whatever your situation is. But a thumbnail for this example, I'm going to phrase it from 2 different perspectives. Number 1, time. Number 2 is results. So when we look at time, if you say you want to make 6 figures per year in real estate, but you see that it's $10 for a thumbnail and you're taking an hour to design that thumbnail, you're essentially valuing yourself at $10 an hour, which is not 6 figures a year. So that's problem number 1. And number 2 is quality results. So if you could pay somebody $10 to design a thumbnail that's going to get 200, 300, 500% more clicks because it's actually professionally designed and it doesn't look like shit, well, that's 200 or 2 to 5 times more views, which means that it's going to be a bigger return on your time invested for you creating the video because it's getting more views in front of more people, potentially more leads and more clients. That is an investment into your business. It is not an expense. And a lot of people, which goes into the last thing we're going to talk about, really struggle with investing money into their business because they just view it as money going out, not future money coming back in. Number 6, one of the biggest problems, and probably the biggest problem, is most people will not pursue something that does not have a guaranteed outcome. This is why if you look at the Michael Jordans, the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants, anyone that has ever achieved excellence in a sport, Tom Brady's, is they have basically pursued perfection during their career. Well, nothing's perfect and they know that. But there's an interview with Kobe Bryant and this is what he says is, I pursue perfection because I know my competition will not pursue something that doesn't have a guaranteed outcome. So even if I fall short of perfection, I will still land much higher than my competition because they wouldn't even try and they wouldn't even attempt. Well, that happens with social media for real estate. So many people are saying, I'm only going to do it if I can get a client within this amount of time. I'm only going to spend this amount on ads. If I don't get a client, I'm not going to do it again. I'm only going to do it for this long. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to a different platform. Well, again, if you commit to the process and you embrace delayed gratification, it's going to work out, but you have to stop setting yourself up from failure mentally from day one by putting these fictitious timelines and expectations that you have no data and logic to back it up with. You're just pulling it out of thin air. You heard some, unicorn story and think that that's just the status quo. You have to go in with the mentality that you're going to do this for the rest of your career. You know the importance of it. You're going to commit to improving over time by rewatching your content and auditing it. And you're going to commit to the process to the point where this eventually will work out. So those are the 6 things that I see that many people struggle with and why they're not getting the results that they're looking at on social media when trying to get clients. And if you have any questions about this, just drop a comment below and I'm more than happy to answer. So thanks so much for tuning in. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.